So I'm excited about today. Some great conversations happening online. So one thing I'm going to be talking about today is the career, like your career path, and getting to cybersecurity. Do you need a degree? Do you just need certifications? So going to go a little bit in depth of that conversation and send you some resources where there's a discussion going on online. Also, we'll talk about what's going on in the news and see, is there any other breaches that have been going on? So let's hack at it. Okay, so the discussion that I've been hearing online, seeing, as I'm sure you are online, about the big gap between qualified IT security people and the job market of employers looking for qualified people. So they started asking questions online. And one of the sites that I have some great respect for and a lot of dialogue that happens on is called Peerlyst.com. I'll just put the link here, and then I'll be in the description below as well. And Peerlyst is a really good IT security, cybersecurity resource where a lot of professionals in this industry go and chat and discuss and share information and just let you know what's going on in the industry. So I started a conversation on there about, do you need a degree to be in IT security, and started to progress into people sharing their thoughts and their opinions on what's going on in the industry. When it comes to your career, do you need certification? Do you need a degree? And one of the points are, and I totally understand this, is that if you're going the conventional route of getting a job and working for a company, a degree always helps you progress in the company. And that would help you move up to managerial roles, senior level roles, maybe team lead positions, things like that, where they would like to have someone that has a degree. Now, from what I've been hearing, it's not the end all and be all. It's not like if you don't have a degree, you can't get in these positions. They would just like you to have it because the level of knowledge and education that you have when you go in there. Now, on the flip side, say you're technical. You're just a technical person and you don't want to do a managerial role of scheduling, budgeting, going to meetings and project planning, reporting to the board of managers, board of directors, VPs, and getting into the politics of IT security. Maybe you're just someone that likes to penetration test, likes to do coding, likes to do red team type activities of trying to break into certain devices and white hat hacking, of course, but penetration testing and white hat hacking of your company. Maybe you're on the other side, you're on the blue team where you like to set up the security, like to set firewalls, unified threat management systems, harden software, harden, servers, harden applications. Maybe that's where you want to go. Well, a degree might not be the way to go. Might be more certifications, ongoing education, because things are always changing. And this is something you have to answer for yourself. Right? And this is the challenge when it comes to IT security. There is no really true cut path that if you do X, you're going to get to Y. It's, you want to go this way. Here's some certifications, knowledge to get you that expertise, but then you got to go out and get that sweat equity. You got to prove yourself. You got to prove that you can do it. So the certification helps to validate that you have a certain knowledge, but then there's applied knowledge that you need as well. So this is where you hear a lot of people talking about, spend the time, like Gary Vaynerchuk talks about it when he talks about marketing and social media. Right? He's talking about branding and marketing companies, where you have to dive deep now. Right? Look at planning, for the next 5 years. Don't plan for the next 12 months. Plan for the next 5 years. If you push hard now, where is that going to develop into in the next 5 years? And that's what you have to think about. Right? And that's my opinion. So that's it for this section. I'm going to cut this short right now. The next section what we're going to talk about is just what's going on with the news. So comment below. I'd love to hear what you think about IT security or cybersecurity education and career. What education do you feel that you need to get into the positions that you want to go? So I want to hear, like, if you want to be an ethical hacker or a penetration tester, you need this type of education. So CEH, OSCP, and I know there's a few other, or there's several others, penetration testing certifications out there. Do you need that, or is there a degree that's coming out? So comment below. I really like to hear your thoughts and opinion. And in the next section, we'll talk about the news. Okay, so let's cover the news. I got 2 articles I was looking at today. Not much really exciting in the news, but 2 articles that I found that I thought would be pretty interesting. The first one is where do security vulnerabilities come from? And this was from Dark Reading, one of the websites I check out daily just to see what's going on in the news and what's going on with the cybersecurity industry. What they were talking about is there are 3 major causes of vulnerabilities, which are code quality, complexity, and trust data inputs. And it's a very in-depth article. It was a really good read to kind of look at those 3 areas. I think when it comes to security vulnerabilities, we have to look at all the different areas too. Like as I'm reading, you're looking at people, are one of the highest of security vulnerabilities because of phishing attacks, social engineering, because we make mistakes, we're tired, we're fatigued, we might not think of what we're doing. Also, when we click on something, oh no, and then something happens. Or we assume it's something we know, like it's an email from a person that we know, or a trusted resource. Our innate personality is to trust people. So if someone's tailgating, you're like, oh, and they have stuff in their hands, and you're like, oh, here, let me help you, let me hold the door for you. These are all ways people can compromise us, and this is just our innate kind of human nature to be passionate, to be forgiving, to help people, to be, help our fellow person, individual around us. So that's how a lot of times we can get compromised, because you don't want to always have this alarm up that's like, oh my God, I don't know this person, so I can't trust them. You don't always want to have that, but that's where, a lot of times we get compromised from what I've been reading and listening to these things that happen. So, read the article. Let me know what you think about where does security vulnerabilities come from, those areas. And I want you to comment also is, where do you think is different vulnerabilities that come from? Where can we strengthen up our security? Next one is sonic data breach potentially affects millions. So I'm from Canada. I didn't know what Sonic was, and I don't eat much fast food or go out eating fast food, so I didn't realize what Sonic was. I actually thought it was a company that was something else. I didn't know it was like a restaurant chain, a fast food chain. So Sonic first heard about the breach when its credit card processing detected unusual activities on customers' payment cards. Fast food giant has disclosed a data breach potentially affecting millions of customers. The chain has nearly 3,600 stores across 45 U.S. states, but as the investigation is ongoing, it does not yet know how many store payment systems were affected. So there's still, and like it says in the top, it could be millions affected. So this is one thing we have to be mindful as we're going out and shopping and doing these things, is that people are getting their payment systems, right? Their debits, their credit card systems compromised. I know here in Canada, in Ontario, well, actually in Canada, you hear a lot about gas stations getting compromised, right? And it could be the debit machine, it could be something like that. And you hear that when there's fraud or anything, they trace it back to a gas station. So either the gas station person, the attendant, might have a reader on the back, so when they grab your card and they swipe it, they're actually swiping it twice and you don't know it. They're touching it on like an RFID reader and taking all your information, capturing it. And it's just sometimes you're not aware of that. So a recommendation is, if you have a credit card, never give it to someone. Second of all, just keep a mindful record of where you're shopping and what you're doing, because credit cards are good in this sense. If you're using them, a lot of times when they get compromised, the credit card companies will reimburse you after they do their investigation. So it's good on protection on that side, but it's just the inconvenience. And you can also look at, the potential for identity theft and going forward. But for just the credit card compromise, credit card companies actually do a great job of reimbursing people that do get compromised, because they understand, the inconvenience. They understand that. So something to look at. So that's really what's going on in the news. I'd like to hear your comments. Again, all the resources, all the links are in the description below. So if you want to check out the articles, I recommend you do. The one thing I wanted to add is I put the Peerlyst link below, as well as just the Peerlyst comment, the feedback that I was talking about earlier about careers and college or going to university or certifications. That feeds below. Jump on there and get part of the conversation. I'd really like to kind of know your feedback. So that's it for today's video. A lot going on. As you can tell, it's always developing, always going. Hopefully that you're taking this information in and learning as I'm sharing it, or at least reminding yourself of the things that you already know. So depending on where you are in that scale, if you're just jumping into cybersecurity or IT security, hopefully this is, you know, giving you some information, getting you excited about the things that you're going to be working on. If you're someone that is not in security, hopefully this is giving you some insight of things that you need to look at and kind of protect yourself, you, your family, the people around you, right? If you own a company, your company, right? Or things that, you know, if you're in a company or you're employed, that you can recommend things that you're hearing, because the more that we all do, the more secure we can do. And it's like the analogy of like one finger versus a fistful of fingers, a hand fingers. A lot stronger if we can move together as a community to protect ourselves, right? And that will be less breaches and less vulnerabilities, right? And the attack vector, as they call it, right, we'll try to get smaller and smaller because we'll be more aware of the things that we need to do day in and day out, and the things that we need to be aware about as we're going throughout our day. So that's it for today's video. I'm just going to end there. Don't forget, software is hackable. Just go over here. Software is hackable. Being connected is vulnerable. I'll see you next video.